I'm sure you have your complaints about Dragon Ball Legends, the hit mobile game. Although we all love it, and whether you complain about it, you still log in often to play the game. But that doesn't mean you're just content with how the game is. I'm sure you always want it to improve and want the devs to up the quality that they provide us. So I put out this tweet. I'm sure you have your complaints for the game. Anything you want changed, fixed, or implemented in the game, drop them down below. Will potentially be used for an upcoming video. It's the start of the year, 2025, and the devs have already announced that this year, the 7th anniversary will be huge. They're planning on releasing a big update this year, so that just tells us to look forward for what they have to provide. But in the current state of the game, and during the festival, I'm sure a lot of you feel the same. The game wasn't exactly up to par in terms of their releases, the gameplay, and even just the events they've been putting out. It was all quite lackluster. So I'm going to be reading some of you guys' input. I do videos like this all the time, but I only take input on Twitter. So if you want to be a participant next time, go ahead and follow me on Twitter, Zakashi 3 eyes, and turn on the post notifications. I also put out a notification on the Discord and the community post so that when I do have a video like this upcoming, you can be the first to know. Let's get into this. Hopefully the devs see this video. I'm knowing of them checking content out. Like I've showed you guys before, Yuka is familiar with some of us. She knows Virgil specifically, so hopefully they find this video. But yeah, 3 PvP related things. Do less for certain units, EX image 1. Yeah, so referring to Ultra Majin Vegeta for sure. Buff certain units whenever it's needed, example image 2. Goku Black Rose for sure. Cracking down on lag switching and refining inputs in PvP in general. To not be eaten by the game. Use a strike, but you don't strike. Okay, the thing is, I agree with all of these. I think most people will, but it's about how they do it. For example, if they need to do less for certain units like Ultra Majin Vegeta, would they punish him through not releasing other things, but then that doesn't matter because the leader slot exists? Or would they just make him worse, but then people would feel like they got somewhat scammed because they spent CC on this unit and now he's getting debuffed just because he's maybe too good? So it's difficult, you know. It's not like other games where you're playing, I don't know, Warzone, where there's like guns available, or Fortnite, there's guns available for everybody to pick up by chance, not something that you spend on and then, you know, they nerf them. These are things that people are using their in-game currency for. So I don't know how they would go about just making a character less or doing less for them. You know, other characters would get punished as a result. For example, imagine they released Triku first, and because they saw that Triku counters UG4 too hard, they never dropped Ultra Turtles because movies would get too much. That would be interesting. That would be insane. It would change up their whole plan, but cool. This third one, cracking down on lag switching and refining inputs in PvP in general. Oh my god. Lag switching, they try their best, man. I think they try their best. You can't blame the devs for people's bad connections. They've been doing this every 2 years or every year they try to fix it. But the refining the inputs of PvP, oh my god, they need to do something about that. The inputs on the game are abysmal. I be pressing stuff and I know it's not me, bro. It's not my phone. My phone be working fine. As soon as I get into DBL, all of a sudden swipes don't work. It's a headache. It's a headache. But they actually had more here. 3 PvE related things. Refine things like God Challenge instead of scrapping it. God Challenge is so buns. They just need to make it maybe shorter or more rewarding for the length of the event. But then even if it's long, it would be boring. So it needs to be somewhat creative, and I like what they did with it, but the rewards are not worth it. Drop CC, bro. USTR refreshes weekly instead of every 2 weeks for more content. With this one, the USTR refreshing weekly thing, it's a weird standpoint because imagine endgame players, they will have maybe too much content in a sense where they're just being able to do it and they don't have things to spend on, whereas people who are newer to the game would thrive off this. So you need to think of it from both spectrums. I'm kind of behind this, but I can see why they wouldn't. And then cycling free-to-play content or bringing it back, Kakarot Goku Blue Android 21. If I'm not mistaken, they just can't. They need licenses for that. So yeah. The last one, I promise, 3QOL, quality of life related things. Changing Ultra Banner format to include more recent LS while regularly. Hopefully the devs see this video because they do be checking out the content. Spoke to Yuka in LA and she was actually familiar with Virgil's face, so hey, this might land in their office. But we got one here from Nindo XTTV. I think we can all agree this needs to be fixed or at least acknowledged. Now, there's an answer for this. You know, when you get the same taps as somebody, but you win or lose, it's really annoying. And the basic answer is that there is decimal places beyond this. So it's, say this is 0.53 and then 1, but the person got 0.53 and then 2. It just doesn't show the third decimal place because it would look ugly. It's literally just an aesthetics decision in the dev's office. And, you know, they don't tell you that, but that's just the simple answer for it. However, they could easily just implement a stalemate animation. Instead of putting it by time, if we get the exact same number, just make us go back into an even position, it would make the game a lot more intense as well, because you're not just getting sold by decimal places that you can't see. This is one of the most obvious fixes that we should have had. We're 7 years in the game and this is not a fix that exists. So I don't know what they're doing with this. They clearly have shown to have animations for a stalemate, for example with Ultra UI, for example, or even Chalet, the fusion of Giblet and Shallot versus Super Saiyan Blue Kalki and Goku. They've exhibited animations they could easily implement as a stalemate instead of having the decimal places, and it would probably be less work on them anyways, because these numbers are just absurd. Nobody cares about how fast you got it. Just let me get rewarded for the specific tap that I got, because everybody has the freedom to go 3 times. But I've seen what they've gone with here. You could say it's a skill issue going the first time. You know, you'd be better off going fast the first time, but then you don't even know what speed you're gonna get. So it's more RNG than a skill issue if anything. So they should definitely just take off the time, and if we get the same number, just equalize it. That's what I would do. But in general, I'll maybe at least show the numbers. There's so many ways they can go about fixing this. But yeah, I think everybody's had this issue for a long time, and it's so frustrating, especially if it's on a final play of the game. You get the exact same time as the other person, exact same number, but you lose. Hell nah, man. Got one here from One Can't Be Named, Kevin. New type of art card or new mechanic to stop an attack like a parry. I don't know why I said it like that, but it's because it's spelled like that. I think it's spelled with a Y though, from Street Fighter. I agree with this. I've mentioned a block button in general, so not an art card, but a block button. It would be similar to, I kept calling it super counters, but it's actually a revenge counter. It costs 2 skill points in Sparking 0 to use a revenge counter, which allows you to break out of a combo. But the cost is obviously high. 2 skill points, you can do a lot with that in a battle in Sparking 0, and that's going to set you back. In Legends, if they were going to implement a block button, there should be some sort of punishment. For example, if you break out that combo, you lose your vanish, and then for your next time for you to switch them in, it's 20 timer counts. And then with some people, it could make it so that reduction of timer counts on their switch in is actually way more valuable, because, you know, they'd be more useful with the block button than any other character. So it adds a new element to the game, and it can also free people from extended combos. Plus, they wouldn't have to worry so much when creating characters that can do such long combos, because people have the opportunity to break out of it whenever, and maybe limit it to like 1 or 2 a game. So if you get caught in a combo and you want to break out, you do get the chance to, but it's going to still punish you as a result. I agree with this. I don't think it should be an arts card. If it's an arts card, then it'd be exclusive to a certain character. That's just another broken mechanic for a new unit. I need it to be a mechanic like the tackle or quick attack that they've added to the game as a base for every single, like a base mechanic for gameplay in the game, not just a unit addition mechanic. But yeah, I agree. We got one here from Aram Figuer de Casa de Silva. Hey, that's a tough name, low-key. But here, Ultra Banner rates and format revamp for the love of God. Either that or give the new shiny mechanics to LFs more often. Let's think about this. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first one, the Ultra Banner rates and format revamp. I think the format can stay the same. Maybe revamp it and just give them a pity system, like as in the rates. But then it would make it too easy. So if they increase the rates, they would probably lower the Z power it takes. So it should be something like, I don't know, if it's already like what, 3000 Z power a pool. No, it's 2000. It's 2000 Z power a pool. If they make it 1500 or something, but they up the rates, would you be happy with that? I think a lot of people will, a lot of people won't. It could go either way. But I think the main thing that's important is just start raining. The main thing that's important is a pity system. I think everybody requires a pity system. I've seen too many people go 40k, 60k, 80k, 100k. I've seen people go 200k without an ultra. The fact that that's possible is insane in itself. So I feel like people need to be somewhat rewarded for going so deep into an ultra banner, for sure. It shouldn't be the same as the Legends Limited banner though, because this is the part that I wanted to address at the second bit. Give the new shiny mechanics to LFs more often. I can't necessarily agree with this, because Ultras are not meant to be the same as Legends Limiteds. They're meant to be the highest rarity up. So if you start treating Legends Limiteds like Ultras, you know, you lose the value of an Ultra. Ultras are meant to be better than Legends Limiteds at all times. So if Legends Limiteds are getting new mechanics, then Ultras lose their value because they're just going to be on the same tier. It will be less valuable to summon on a Ultra for any reason, because the Legends Limiteds will be getting those mechanics. And for the same reason of if they add a pity system, it can't operate the same as a, you know, Legends Limited banner. So on the Legends Limited, I think it's like 40,000 before you get the pity, and you get them at 2 stars, which is absolutely buns, right? But then if it was going to be an Ultra, it needs to be worth more. So should we double that? And most people won't even touch 80,000, if we're being honest, on an Ultra banner in one go. Maybe if it saves your pity system for when the banner leaves and comes back. So a lot of you guys, unfortunately, got shafted on Ultra Beast Gohan. Whatever you spent now would stack. So when the Ultra banner comes back, you're still saving towards 80,000. And if you want, you can use the pity system. And I think that would be a better way to go about it. They need to somewhat maintain the fact that Ultras are higher rarity than Sparking, even if it's a Legend Limited. That's the only bit I'd argue to make it balanced. But I agree with the fact that they should revamp it, the format, or change the rate. But then they would probably punish us somehow by changing the Z power drop amount. So yeah, we got one here from Monday X user. Counter gauges shouldn't override other animations. I shouldn't get punished for predicting a tackle or sidestep. Now, I think there's two ways you can look at this, you know. I feel the idea of them adding gauges that work even on the cover change on entry is just to up the tier of what characters can do. There's only 2 characters I believe that can do that. Ultra Margin Vegeta and UG4. Besides from the Rise and Rush cover change thing that we've had since Gold Frieza. And honestly, because it's something that you're told before you go into it, you can take it as, oh, it's a skill issue, you just gotta go around it. Because even if you attack them knowing they're gonna sidestep, you know, they exist with the idea that even if you catch them on a sidestep, their gauge is gonna go off. But I feel like you definitely shouldn't get punished for predicting a tackle or a sidestep. But it could also work out bad for them on the reverse, because you'll be taking out their gauges. So I can see the complaint behind this. The whole idea that they've even implemented that could be bad in itself. And I think people will agree, some people will disagree. But I feel like this is not one of the bigger complaints. But I completely understand the thought process behind it, because skill is becoming less of a relevant thing in Dragon Ball Legends when counter gauges can just override you winning in an IQ sense, you know? So I understand. Got one here from X-Guy Will Penneth. I think we should get something called Legends Retribution. This sounds interesting, hold on. Banners where units make their return, but with double rates or even triple rates. This would make it more likely for people to summon on these returning banners, and would make it so people can get units to 14 star quicker. This is bad. This is bad. This is very, very bad. There needs to be some high core condition on you being able to summon on a Legends Return banner, you know, like, for example, you have to get them at least 9 stars first before you're even having access to a Legends Return banner, but then it would automatically bring them less revenue. So why would they do this when people already summon regardless? And then second of all, if everybody's getting characters to 14 stars, that kind of kills the idea of a gacha game. Gacha games are built with the intention of, if you spend more money or get luckier or save, then you get the reward of having the character higher stars. And even then, it's not a guaranteed reward. It's still based on your RNG, your luck on when you're doing the rolls. But with the rates, it's meant to give you a certain amount, you know. Like, mathematically speaking, you're meant to get them 14 stars by at least this amount on average, but it's not always guaranteed that way. So at first I was like, okay, this sounds interesting, but this could have so many bad drawbacks, you know. Double rates or even triple rates on the return banner. Why would anybody summon on the release banner then, you know? It would make them more likely to summon on those returning banners, yeah, and people would skip the release banner, because what the hell? And when they return, they're off the boost, so they're just less valuable as well. I don't think this is a good idea, but I see why you would say this, but there is so many things you just didn't consider when processing this. It could go downhill really fast if they did this. Something easy to implement: auto select option for equip upgrades. Right now you can just upgrade stacks of 10 and you have to choose them one by one. Just make it like the sell button automatically selects 50 equips or so. It would make awakened equip farm so much easier. This is from Oscar. I think in general we can all agree that equipment awakening is probably one of the most tedious things in the game. By far, it's not even close. Equipment awakening is such a drag, but I understand it being a drag because it is the highest tier of equipments that you can get in the game, besides from platinum equipments, right? So looking at it, like, oh my god, I'm just looking at these equipments and I can just imagine how much pain. Like, I have this one, like 4 of them, and this one, like 5 of them. Oh my god, they took so much time to grind. You know, there definitely needs to be an auto select for them. There definitely needs to be a processing of maybe a certain type of equipment. So what I would say is, you know how you need equipments of that kind to upgrade it to an awakened version? Maybe they just make you collect that kind, and then they have this new type of resource they invent, and depending on how many you have of those, instead of using just scraps of other old equipments and awakening them as a stack, you just use that resource. So like, we have slot removers for removing the slots, but why don't we just have empty shells or something? And then you can use those empty shells instead of having to grind a bunch of base gold equipments and upgrading them individually. Oh my god, that is mad long. To then put them in the thing and then do it one by one. Nah, man. Nah, that's long. That's long. They need to rebrand this somehow, but I see the auto select thing makes so much sense. I like this, bro. Oscar, you on the ball, bro. You think about the real issues. You think about the real issues. Got one here from Pretreatum Astra. The game moves far too fast meta-wise. A unit that is amazing on release can be completely invalidated as quickly as the next couple releases. It hurts people that spend a lot on that unit and takes away from meta diversity when unique characters are rendered obsolete so fast. This is one that I agree with big time. Big time. Oh my god, this one is insane. There are so many units where I felt like, yeah, I'm gonna pull in. It's part of the reason why I've turned completely free to play. I don't spend money on the game anymore. Specifically Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. He is such a fantastic unit, a beautiful unit, but if he's rendered damn near obsolete because of how powerful another unit is that releases only the next month or even 2 months after, I feel somewhat violated, bro. Because I could have spent so much money on one unit, and that's my favorite unit, just for them to be unusable because the devs had a bright idea to drop another unit that's going to take out that unit. Now, in some cases, I do understand it because they release a unit that's too powerful, but then again, that's just an issue that the devs created for them to fix. So then it puts us that spend money on the game, which I don't anymore, or even if you don't spend money, which is even worse, you put all your hard-earned in-game Chrono Crystals into one unit, and then you don't have access to get more Chrono Crystals just like that because, God forbid, you're an endgame player. Your unit's dead. Dead! And now you're just suffering and there's nothing you can do about it. That's just a really bad shame. The meta does move really fast, and that's because it isn't consistently balanced. It's always one way or the other. It's always 100% or 0. Do we have high power damage unit that's controlling the game, or do we have one strict team that has long combos controlling the game? Or is it just a defense meta where nobody can win the game, it just goes to timer counts and then it's balanced out by damage inflicted? Like, no matter what meta we are in, it's always far one-two way. There's very far one... Bro, can I speak? Too much one way, basically. It's never really... Sometimes there is many teams that are balanced. I feel like maybe at the start of the anniversary there was somewhat of a balance, but I might be lying about that if my memory serves me correctly. But there are times where there is like one way or the other, and not one way or the other. You can have a balance of multiple teams that exist all simultaneously. I'd say a time that I remember largely, the Evil Ken team versus Beast Gohan. You have a high damage output unit versus a long combo team, and you can use either or and get really far. That's a time where they've literally got everything available at one point. And I think if the game consistently stayed like that, the meta wouldn't move fast and they wouldn't have to hard counter people. But it's all down to them and their design, man. I agree with this so much. Got one here from DB Xerox. Stale playstyles. The meta favors defensive or stalling strategies, such as units with endurance, cover change mechanics, or constant healing. This slows the pace of matches and makes aggressive or creative strategies less viable. I agree with this as well, but I feel like this is something they already plan to fix upcoming. For example, they've already started right now with the release of Ultra Beast Gohan, but then again, it's just them creating an issue to fix it. Ultra Beast Gohan isn't exactly the best solution either, but when they've released a unit like him, a unit has to be so powerful in one way or another that they're able to beat out the stalling defensive strategies that are really boring and stale, but it forces people to have that one unit and not use anything else because that's the only option they have to escape this terrible playstyle PvP that is promoted because it's the best. It's hard to avoid, and that's again, it's just down to them balancing the game overall. So I guess they just have to do a better job with how they release units or the mechanics they put in the game, or even the system they have in place. Like they added tackles and quick attacks, for example, to add more variety in your playstyle, but then the variety gets shut down anyways because the minute somebody starts some combo, it doesn't even matter how they start the combo, it can go on infinitely. Or if they can just tank so long, even if they're getting combo to oblivion, they're gonna win the game because they have higher survivability, and that's a real shame, man. But yeah, I agree with this. Still playstyles probably the thing I hate most. I love the G4 meta. I'm not saying it was exactly healthy, but the game was a lot more fun, and I think most people would agree with that now that we've witnessed what we've witnessed pre-festival and basically the whole festival as well. Take here from Smart Vegeta. 20k CC cap from exchange shop absolutely needs to be removed. It's a nightmare for us free-to-play players. As a free-to-play player now, this one needs to go, because how am I going to save above 20,000 Chrono Crystals? It's possible, but you'd be missing out on so much Chrono Crystals through the exchange shop. There's so much to get. All the raids that they're going to drop, the hyperdimensional co-op shop, any type of battle royale, and anything else they decide to release on top. You just miss out on all of it just because you are above 20,000 Chrono Crystals, and that's a shame. So that means you have to float around 20,000 and you can't go above it. I could see why they wouldn't want people to go above it easily, but bro, like when you're free to play and the way the meta is moving so fast, at least give us the choice to save over, because we could spend so many on one unit just for them to be obsolete in the next month. But if we didn't have the cap, I'd at least have some spares, some back pocket change. And most people don't play like this anyway, they don't have the mindset to, but at least give people the option, don't restrict them for in-game CC that you're giving out, and just because they're over 20,000, they can't claim it. Nah, man, that's not cool. I don't think that's cool. Everybody will agree it's not cool. But hey, they already fixed the shop one. They changed it from, I think, 20,000 to 200,000. This one just needs to go completely, or at least be raised. If it got raised to at least 50,000, people would feel much more comfortable saving so that they could spend on a ultra banner that they know is going to be very, very good, especially during the anniversary. People really love the anniversary or all celebrations in general, so the festival too. Ultras. Ultra Beast Gohan, lots of people didn't want him, but boy is he beautiful, and everybody can acknowledge that. So you'd probably get more people spending on those things and going deeper as well as a result. But hey, there's just overall there's no reason for it to be in the game, in my opinion, or at least at 20k that's way too low. We got one here from Skyline NFS. Controversial change here: remove the leader slot since it basically promotes everyone using the same busted character every match, or just inserting any character they want into the most meta team, Majin Buu Saga basically, without any drawbacks since most units have less restrictions. Ran out of character limits, but I think removing the leader slot allows for more variety in teams, especially if the number 1 and number 2 units don't share tags. In this case right now, right, we have Ultra Beast Gohan and Ultra Majin Vegeta, and people don't give a damn. They're putting them together, and they don't share any tags, and that's crazy. The leader slot definitely has its pros, it definitely has its cons. I feel like the issue is they stopped restricting units, and when they do restrict units, they're gonna restrict the most idiotic units ever. Like, why did they restrict Videl? that they released with the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Why is she restricted? Of all units, they restricted her to girls. What the hell was that decision? When they just had Ultra Majin Vegeta running free, they just have Vegito Blue running free, they just have Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 Goku running free. They have all these powerhouse problematic units running free, and then they restrict the most possibly could have been fun unit that we got this festival. I'm dragging it there because it's Videl at the end of the day, but come on, bro. You're not even gonna let the girls run free? What kind of... Let me not say anything. But goddamn, of all people to get restricted, the girls tag? I don't know what that decision was there. But yeah, obviously for those reasons, people are just running the same meta teams where we had a moment in time where people were running before the festival. Ultra Turles, Triku, and Ultra Majin Vegeta. During the festival, people just running Vegito Blue, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and Ultra Majin Vegeta. Now people are trying to pair together Ultra Majin Vegeta, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, or Vegito Blue, and then they'll put Ultra Majin Vegeta on as well. I mean, or Beast Gohan. It's like, bro, these same characters are just being cycled in a way because they're the most powerful. If it didn't exist, people would stick to specific tags because it would favor them in most cases, but there's a con to that too. So if people have to stick to specific tags, the people that don't summon on everything, they're gonna summon a lot less. Because if the leader slot's available, for me, I'm a Fusion Warrior main, but I can summon on people and then put them on my team so that I don't feel left out throughout the whole year, because we don't know what they're gonna buff. That's the main thing. Imagine going the whole 2023 thinking GT's gonna get a buff and you only use that one tag and the leader slot didn't exist. Oh my god, that would be so bad, you know? But then again, it's a choice for you to play like that. But then you can't get far with no leader slot because you're only trying to make your best team. You're going to have to over invest in too many things, and you putting your eggs in too many baskets is not going to get you a good team, so people will feel their experience is worse. There's both ways I can see about it, pros and cons. The main issue is if there was no leader slot, you would need to know what's coming up to at least have it make sense. But with the leader slot, the other issue comes out that they need to restrict more units so that it's not too excessive. Too accessible as well. So yeah, I agree with this overall, but it's how they go about it to make it important, to make it valuable. I would rather the leader slots stay and they just handle how they release units better with their restrictions. They're just making them run free and they can go anywhere, and that's too much. It makes the meta overwhelming and hard to play. Got one here from Zenties with 3 Z's, but then in the first line it's 2 Z's. We need more units like Beast Gohan. He's perfectly balanced while being an insane powerhouse. Now, I don't agree with this. I do not agree with this. The only reason this feels good, as in he's perfectly balanced, because he's not. He is not perfectly balanced. His balance only exists because the meta is so bad. If Ultra Majin Vegeta didn't exist, all the survivability from Majin Buu Saga, add Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 Goku with the long combos and all the buff cancellations, if all of those didn't exist, Beast Gohan would be an absolute problem. Don't think because he is good to counter the already existing problem that he is not a problem. He is a big problem. For example, if G4 dropped today and he was red, he would be the festival savior in the same way. So it's not that he himself isn't a problem, it's just that he fixes a much larger problem because he balances it out in a sense. People like to say he's balanced because he is somewhat squishy, but his output is too much. It's too much, and people are always going to be whales. So higher stars, you just balance out the defenses anyways. So his defenses aren't even bad once you get him higher stars. He just continues to up his offenses in addition, and that makes it way bad. But I feel like what they should do is balance out the meta a lot more. So they need to do what they've just done with Beast Gohan, but faster and all the time. So if they drop one unit that's long combo heavy, they need to drop another unit that's offensive. Then a unit that's maybe defensive, then a unit that's maybe offensive, but maybe in a supportive way. And they keep flipping the scales with different tags, and they can keep the leader slot, maybe restrict tags here and there, and it'll be fine. It's harder, it's easier said than done, for sure. And I feel like as players, we take that for granted. But I do not think we need to get more units like Beast Gohan, at least not all the time. But he's very perfectly balanced for what the meta is in right now, what the meta provides. But in general, no. Because if you put him in any other time period, you're gonna switch up on this statement real quick. Got one here from Karma Uzuhiko. Ultra banners need a massive change. 1k per summon, and it's possible to get one old and one mid sparking unit alongside a bunch of heroes. They also need to start focusing on enjoyment rather than a busted unit that just runs the game. Okay, so ultra banners, we spoke about that earlier in this video already with somebody else's tweet. They do need a massive change. I feel like too many people are going 100k with no unit, and that is absurd. They just need a pity system at least, in my opinion. Or they could just change the rates, but they'll probably punish us by lowering the Z power drops. Cool. 1k per summon, and it's possible to get one old and one and mid sparking alongside a bunch of units. Like, bro, that's insane. And yeah, they also need to start focusing on enjoyment rather than busted units that just runs the game. I've thought about this a lot, and I've addressed it in a lot of cases. When they do focus on enjoyment, in a sense, it would bring them less money, because if they do that, they have to do it through a busted unit that's going to be hype. Nobody wants G4 to be weak as hell. Nobody wants Vegito Blue to be weak as hell. Super Vegito, Super Gogeta, MUI Goku, a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Do you get what I'm saying? Because these characters here are big iconic moments in Dragon Ball. So when they drop in the game, they're meant to be the destroyers. They're meant to be the number one. They're meant to be the selling point. If they release fun units, they can do that, but the player base in the end will overshadow them. So it's like you have to put the effort out and get something back. And if they put the effort out in a unit that's just fun, will they get a reward back? Because at the end of the day, the units that they always drop, they drop so many Vegetos, make them money so that they can make more units at the end of the day. So from a business standpoint, I would disagree. But from a player-based standpoint, I agree. They have to find somewhat of a balance, and I think they've done that with a couple of the Ultras. Whether you agree with it or not, I think they've hit the mark with Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. His counter is a bit excessive, but in the same way, using his counter is fun. The tap actions it's just the same as Ultra Vegito Blue, but with both of those units, UG4, UVB, they're still fun to use. With fusing Gogeta Blue, the Strike Assault, even though it's pretty mid, it's pretty terrible, it's still fun to use. And I think they dropped a bunch of fun mechanics this year, but at the sake of them being super busted. So yeah, you know, they need to find somewhat of a line to draw. But I think overall, if the meta was just balanced, people would see the fun in units. But hey, it's easier said than done, and that's what I'll say for this one. But the first part regarding the Ultra Ban is 100% unanimous agreed. That needs to be changed. Grain the one, overuse of counter gauges, auto or not, way too many counter units this year, Rat Hand, G4, etc. We actually did get a lot, I'm pretty sure. We got UMV, we got Beast Gohan, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, G4, and if you want to count some, we got like Super Baby 2's block. We have, I'm missing somebody that I had in my head, Super 17's green card. Got a couple counters in a sense, but you know, let's just count the Ultras. The Ultras make the most sense to talk about. The Ultras going berserk with the counters, and I think that's what they tried to implement this year. I think they were just having fun with it. I do see why people hate it, but when it's too much like this, it's a bit excessive, especially since the leader slot just allows a lot of them to be paired together, and a lot of these hype units that they drop and they put counters on can just be paired together because they're always going to be somewhat hype moments. So they're either going to be antagonists or heroes, and the heroes can most time pair together somehow. So hey, they definitely should slow down, boys, slow down. But the thing is, if they drop a counter gauge, there needs to be something to counter that gauge. But then those things could also just be paired together. So it's difficult, man. It's difficult, man. I think we're already too deep in. They should just slow down and drop very straightforward, efficient units. Like, in my opinion, Ultra Golden Frieza, I love that unit. I love that unit. I think he's so efficient. He doesn't do anything too gimmicky. Comeback is obviously powerful on release, but right now it's not too much, you know. He's just straight efficient. He doesn't do anything too crazy spectacular. So if they could drop maybe a unit like Golden Frieza, or maybe two of them for widely different tags, that would be cool. And I think that would actually fix the overuse of this. But then it also clashes with the idea that people want more fun in the game. There's a split. There's a split in the community, you could say. Stop having a bias for characters and design every one of them equally. Start dropping at least one LF Zenkai every 2 to 3 weeks. Fix connection issues, because as an EU player, I don't want to play against NA players. Before I say having a bias, right? Is that Gogeta in your profile picture? It is. I knew it was. Anyways, whether that changes how I view what you're saying, I'm gonna say we're not gonna shoot the messenger today. We're not gonna shoot the messenger today. Anyways, stop having a bias for character and design everyone every one of them equally. They just can't do this. Could you imagine, like, Nappa and Vegeta that dropped before the anniversary are designed at the same quality level of UG4? Why would you split your money like that? You know, it's a good idea to put out there, but then you're not thinking of the business aspect of this, because it's still a game where people have to get paid and you know, make money. They got deadlines and things like that. They can't just do that. Ultras are meant to be the highest rarity. Why would they design at the same level as Legend Limited? If you're even talking about the meta standard, it's still wrong, because ultras are meant to be more powerful given at the higher rarity. Start dropping at least one LF Zenkai every 2 to 3 weeks. No, because we'll run out within a short frame of time, and then it would also add to the meta problem moving too fast. You know, I can see what you're trying to go with a lot of these things, but they're like surface level thoughts. I don't feel like these were very much thought out. And then the connection issues, unanimous, we all agree. Devs, please do your best to fix the connection issues. There's so many bad inputs, disconnection, people cheating. Oh my god, if there's still the RP cheats that exist, fix them so the game can be as enjoyable as possible for people. Ranked 1 in PvP has been so obsolete. It's not valuable at all in PvP. Nobody cares, and the people that do, there's a very small amount of them, and it's very hard to compete with those people because they know specific, in a sense, exploits to get that high. Please make rank 1 more fair to obtain and more valuable, so that the person that does hit rank 1 feels like they actually achieved something, because playing for 2 weeks straight should be heavily rewarded in my opinion. Got a take here from SSD Sharpshooters. All the units released in Fest feel very similar to each other, if anything way too similar. I agree with this very easily. We have what? 3 transforming units. We got Rose, Vegito Blue, and we also have Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. 3 transforming units, right? The only one that stood out is Diamond Goku, and Ultra Beast, just being an Ultra, he's going to be slightly different. So Diamond Goku is really just the outlier. Then you have Goku Black, Vegito Blue and the Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 Goku pairing together. So what you're just going to be used to is just that same thing. And then on top of that, they're all built to pretty much have combos beside from Diamond Goku and Rose. Rose breaks combos, but then it's ironic that him doing a different job makes him the worst out of the whole pack, and by a landslide too. Diamond Goku, he's meant to basically snipe, which is a shame. And then Beast Gohan's just the over oppressive type of guy, you know. So I feel like in design choice, I could see why somebody would say this. Somebody could argue very easily that they are different, but because of what's valuable, I could easily say it felt like there wasn't a lot of variety in the festival, which made it feel overall very stale. And you could also say this actually shows through the revenue produced by Dragon Ball Legends. So they did not hit top grossing in any part. Not even Beast could save them. They had to give out 1,000 Chrono Crystals just for sake, to be nice. It wasn't even top grossing. They would usually do it for top grossing, but they just gave it out to be nice. Maybe it requires a look in the mirror. Take here from SG again. 50cc every time you win a ranked match. I don't like the idea of this for obvious reason. Let's not even explain why this is a bad idea. But I saw this and I thought about it in a different way. What if you got 50cc every time you went up a rank? As in battle rank. You know, you get reset to a certain point anyways, so that means you could only earn a set amount before you get to BR70. Then you get your end of season CC as well. You know, in Tournament Power, you get CC for playing a certain amount of time, if I'm not mistaken. But if it's not that, you get CC for reaching the top. You get 300 CC. So why not reward people for just playing? I know you do get CC from the missions, right? For playing a certain amount of time, and there's the exchange shots with specific seasons. But they could easily just add a little more on top, you know, 50cc for every battle rank. or they could do it in a sense where you can earn a small amount of CC every single day for the whole season. It can even just be 10, and that would be nice, you know. I think that would make a big difference and give people another avenue of getting CC. But I think it would zone in the game way too much on PvP, even though already most of the CC available in the game is PvE. So hey, just rewording this, making it a new idea, but obviously this is a bad idea. This is a terrible idea. The idea of new summon animations. This has been spoken about for so long that I've even given up speaking about it. Summon animations in 2025, are we gonna get them? Now, they have announced they are increasing the RAM for the game, and if you don't know what that means, it means we can expect bigger and better things in the game, higher quality products. If you want to compare it to the likeliness of other games, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I am a Genshin player. If you know about Genshin Impact, whether you like it or not, the quality in that game, because it can also be played on PC, I'm talking legitimately played on PC, you can download the launcher for Genshin Impact and play it on PC. The quality of the game is just higher. It's not even comparable. There's a reason why it's won Game of the Year or like Gacha Game of the Year, whatever category it fits in, many times. I think it's won twice at least. So it knows what it's doing because it's a higher quality product. It's a gacha game in the same League of Legends, but then it's also a tier above because it can be ported onto PC with the launcher. You play officially with the launcher. Legends reaching that type of caliber is a big sign, and that's going to take a bunch of space on your phone. So, but that also increases the potential for quality, which is why we could actually see new summon animations in 2025. Before, it was just a pipe dream. Hopefully, we're just waiting. You know, we got Ultra UI sign as a reveal. We're like, oh, let's get some new summon animations. We didn't though. You know, we get Ultra Beats. Oh, let's get some new summon animations. We didn't though. But with this RAM update, it gives valid reason for us to get, not just hope and speculation, but this is still speculation. But it's more reasonable for them to do this since they have the capacity to do so, which is why I think it's possible this year more than ever. Number 1, Godku Glazer. Stop giving characters AoE greens. If they keep doing that, they should give more characters immunity to AoE greens. Fix ultra banners, increase rates, pity better LFs on the banner, and make the LS 1200 to 1800 Z power. Remove perfect vanish. Stop giving every unit cancel bars. Okay, so let's assess this. Let's start with the first one. Stop giving characters AoE greens. I don't think they should do that. It's a factor in the game, and it's been in the game for a long time. But then there was continuation where it says if they keep doing that, they should give more characters immunity to AoE greens. Now, I have a proposition here. I feel like ultra characters should have consistent things that they get in their kit, and it shouldn't even be like character specific. All ultra characters, whether they have an explosive green or not, should get at least one immunity to AoE greens. They're the highest rarity in the game, and these free combo starter mechanics is annoying. So if you're using an ultra, you immediately get the pro of being able to block one AoE green. And I think that already puts them a step ahead in keeping the ultra value high, while also making it so that AoE greens don't get exploited too much. Now that could also backfire with some characters, for example Ultra Margin Vegeta, who's already cracked, but you know, it would keep a lot of the other ultras who's faded away in the game somewhat. And then it would make more people want to use ultras even if they're older or newer, you know? Fix ultra banners, increase rates, pity, better LFs on the banner, and make the LFs 1200 to 1800 Z power. I don't agree with the increase the LF Z power, and then also the better LFs on the banner. They release old ones to have people catch up. You know, if they were always putting bare LFs on the new ultra banners, then in most cases most people just wouldn't summon for LFs. They'll just wait for ultra banners, because then you can get the new ultra and then some old Legends Limiteds as well that are not even old, they're newer ones because they're better. There's cons to that, and then they would earn less money overall, so there's reasons why they don't do that. But everything else I spoke about earlier in this video through other tweets, so I agree. And then remove perfect vanish. I think that could be really bad, because that means if you get no perfect vanishes, you're prone to vanish anywhere, and the vanish wars will basically promote not attacking first, or attacking first and just they're not going to get a PV. So then if they lose their vanish, it's going to be a continuous state of vanishing, switch out, and then whoever has the last opportunity gets the attack. and that's pretty bad. So there needs to be perfect vanishes in my opinion, and stop giving every unit cancel buffs. That should be self-explanatory. They've overdone it this year. The amount of buff cancellation that they've dropped this year needs to be punishable, man. They've done too much, and that's just bad design. That's terrible design, in fact. I don't know what they were thinking, especially giving it to one tag, and even when it's not one tag, it's units that can easily fit with those tags. They're like the perfect puzzle pieces. Isagi Yoichi. Don't know what they're doing, just adapting everything together. Not a good design considering how the leader slot already affects the game. Boy, don't know what they were cooking there, but yeah, they need to slow down. Boys, slow down in 2025. Last one here from Gus44. Implement transferable pity. This is going to be the last one, like I said, and I slightly spoke about this earlier when I gave a solution for ultra banners not having pity, and if they are going to have pity, they need to be really high. If pity can be transferred, that would be pretty bad in some cases, and you know, I can imagine on Ledge Limited banners, if you transfer the pity, boy, you know, some people would just be getting the festival unit for free. But then I think what they'd have to do, if you could transfer pity, they'd lower the amount of Z power you can get out of the exchange shop. So transferable pity would be only for the case of you actually just getting the unit. So you'd probably see a lot of people in that scenario with zero star characters, and that's nasty work. But hey, if they were going to implement something like this, I think it should exist for only ultra banners, and you know, they add the pity for ultra banners, and the ultra banner pity be like 80,000, you know, and then you can transfer previous ultra summoning sessions onto the new banner, and you have them at what, 1 star, 2 star, and I think that would be okay. But those characters would be bums. They'll be absolutely bummy, but then everybody would have them to a degree. Not really actually, because AEK pity is still high. You know, maybe they make it higher than that, whatever they decide to do, but the pity would have to be ridiculous if they allow transferable pity. But on Legends Limited banners, I do not see that, or literally want that happening. I don't think that should happen. But then on a ultra banner, I think it's a lot more reasonable, because ultras are already difficult as hell to get. I just wanted to have a further discussion on that, possible things they could implement based on that. I can see this being done well. It could also be done terribly, but they'll probably be super strict on it because it's going to stop their pockets, because they're giving you something to save you when you get shafted by the rates. So yeah, just gotta think about it reasonably, you know. But yeah, man, that's going to be the end of the video. Through everybody's opinions on things that need to be fixed in this game in this video, I tried to give reasonability from the dev's perspective. Just my opinions though, I'm not a dev, but if it was me trying to build a game and earn a lot of money through it while also providing the player base the best experience they can get, there are some things that are just too one-sided towards the players, which will actually cause long-term implications for the devs. So I tried to be very reasonable. In some cases you'd be like, why is Zach defending them? Why is Zach being like because at the end of the day, some of the things you suggest are just unreasonable. There's a reason you're not a dev. There's a reason I'm not a dev. There's a reason those guys were picked to be devs. They don't always make the best decisions, of course. There's very questionable decisions from a player's point of view, very questionable decisions. But at the same time, there are periods of times where you're like, wow, you love this game. You see the animations, you see the character decisions, you see the mechanic choices. You're like, wow, this game is amazing. So you kind of have to let them cook, but there has to be somewhat of a balance, I feel. The tweet will be linked in the pinned comment and the description, so you can actually go ahead and see what people were saying. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.